Hi everyone, this is Jonathan on Underpromoted, and today I'm really excited to have Teodora Injac on the channel. Teodora, welcome.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So, usually with these interviews, I like to just start by going through childhood. I think it's always a very interesting time, and people have fond memories. So maybe you could start with telling us, your family story about your grandfather's chess set and how you started learning.
Yes, okay, I officially like kind of learned the rule of the game in the first grade of primary school when I was 7 to 8 years old. Like that's when I learned the rules. There was a chess club, and when I was kid, I was not super interested in like sports that other kids would find interesting. Like usually, girls would go for volleyball, guys would go for basketball or football and such things. But I was always I was a little bit like fat kid, and I didn't really like this kind of physical activities. I found it like super random, super boring. And then when chess action came, and when I just I was able to sit for like very long period of time, and just think. I found it very, very interesting. And even today my parents remember the day I came from school with like the paper in my hands with informations of the clubs and coaches and so on. And I looked very, very serious, and I just told them, I know what I'm going to do my whole life. I'm going to become a chess player. And it's actually very funny because I mean I was what's like 7 years old, and they thought it's just going to be a hobby. And like kids usually in that period like start doing so many things. But yeah, I really, really liked it. And then I started going to some small tournaments, started winning some, and of course losing some. But then you focus on winning, and then you get confidence, and really it never kind of stopped. But this story about my grandma set goes, of course, way back than this. Actually, way back in when I was not born. My grandpa used to got as a present like handmade chess set, wooden chess set, and it really looks incredible. Like it's just unique because it's handmade, and he got it from a very close friend. But he didn't know the rules of the game. And my grandma and basically no one from their family was actually interested in chess. And my grandma very often was saying, okay, let's just give the set to someone who would actually play it. Like, let's just not keep it in our home. It doesn't make any sense. We're not touching it. But even later, actually, my grandpa, yeah, just somehow kept saying one sentence that we wrote down. He said, like, just no, I don't want to give it to anyone. It will eventually find its player. And okay, at first it was nothing special, but then later he also gave the chess set to my mom when she moved to her apartment. And later, many years ago, she got me. And then actually that was the chess set where I first had a like physical contact, let's say, with chess. I mean, I was playing with its pieces. Like I would play with dolls, nothing very significant. I mean, my parents also didn't. My dad knew the rules, but also nothing much. So we would just play, with pieces randomly. So it's actually very, very powerful, And my family actually really likes to believe in this kind of thought that okay, words have its power. We have this kind of belief in our family, and actually it's really kind of proven in our case. So it's really nice story.
Yeah. And then, so you started playing, and I read somewhere, your parents also, obviously, they supported you a lot. I read your dad helped you, switch from one club to another when you were getting stronger and you needed to find uh, more strong opponents.
Mhm.
What was the process of continuing to grow? And then maybe at what point did your parents start to think, okay, maybe our little daughter actually is going to become a professional player?
Oh, well, it kind of went, pretty smoothly in my case. I, yeah, as I said, I started playing so when I was like 7 years old, and first kind of bigger event that I played was already, few months actually after I learned to play. There was a World Youth tournament, World Youth Championship in Vietnam, which is of course very far from my home, and it was kind of in that time it was sort of impossible for a kid who has just started playing like 3 months ago to go to such tournaments. But my parents they saw literally this sparkling in my eye, and they just thought like, okay, let's just even in the very beginning they wanted me to experience this kind of thing, to travel very far, because they understood that chess requires this kind of lifestyle, and they wanted to see how does chess exist, how does chess look in like other countries, in countries where in that time it's much more actually developed than it was in Serbia. It's on much higher level and so on. So they found the sponsorship. My dad found the sponsorship, and I managed to go with my mom. And yeah, I really I remember every single detail, even though I was very small, because it really had like a huge impact on me. And I mean, of course, it's too much to say that it was a crossroad, that's why I decided to play. But I saw, okay, we went as a team from Serbia. I met a lot of people who also share same passion. Then again in Vietnam, I met a lot of kids my age that even this day I actually talk to, and we're kind of friends. So it's actually yeah, really showed me that chess can bring a lot of other things, and I really liked the lifestyle that it brings. So yeah, later on, I can't really say that I kind of immediately started working seriously on chess. Actually, I think. Throughout my teens, while I was still going to, first primary school and then high school, I actually didn't have a lot of time to like study chess. I mean, I did have a coach. This was one of my turning points in my career, that my parents found a really nice coach that was helping me. Like we started working when I was, I think, 12, 13, until my later teens. So we worked actually quite a long period. He's international master from Serbia, and actually he really helped me a lot. But I can't really say that I worked. Nowadays kids are working in such a more serious way that it's even uncomparable. I think I started working seriously maybe when I turned like 19, 20, something like this, when I finished high school, and I decided to not go to university. And I was lucky that my parents supported me, because I really felt that okay, in these teens I could not kind of show my real potential, and that I really want to spend time studying chess, and just working on it, improving. And yeah, I was very lucky that they supported me, which is not very rare actually. In Serbia, we had a lot of talented girls. I was not even the best in my age. I was rarely best. I played the Serbian youth tournaments. I only managed to take gold once, and other times always some girl would be in front of me. I would be like second or third. So we had a lot of talented kids, but then with this lack of support, it's very difficult to continue, because okay, like as chess, being chess professional it's like it requires so many things. So I was lucky to have this support of parents, and still have. I mean, they're my biggest support. So without that, I mean, it's difficult to imagine like anything basically, yeah, in my career.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard, in European countries especially, normally you have to finish your schooling. You can't like
Yeah.
go half time or just learn at home privately. Whereas now, and especially maybe some Asian countries, it's possible
Hmm.
to really focus a lot on chess. Do you think, okay, you didn't have any other choices, but do you think there's anything that you're glad for that you had to kind of continue the same studies and childhood that all the other kids had? Or do you wish that maybe around high school you could have just focused on chess?
I mean, it's hard to say because you know, I think school is important. Like even let's say even if you decide to even if you decide to be a chess player like very early, I still think that especially primary school. Okay, I do believe that systems are different in each country, but in Serbia, it's like we go to primary school for 8 years, and that's something that you have to do. Okay, now my knowledge is not so good, but I'm pretty sure that high school is not mandatory, but I might be wrong on this. I'm not sure, but still, high school is 4 years. So in total, you should get some 12 years of education, and then afterwards, of course, you decide whether or not you want to continue. But I still think that these teen years, even from just social aspect, it's nice to just kind of explore other fields, and then you have also time to think. And then if you make this decision, okay, I want to become a professional chess player, this decision comes, I think, in some time where you're also mature enough to kind of come to this decision. Because when we're kids, okay, I mean from this perspective now, where okay, I think that I was pretty sure even when I was 14, 15, okay, I want to become a chess player, but still I'm just a kid. Like maybe in year or two, I will just like something else, and I want to, pursue something else. So I think still this education is quite important. This primary school and high school, and then later on, of course, university is a completely different story because it's basically choosing your profession. So you either choose something else or you pursue, in my case, chess career. It's very difficult, I think, to combine both. Especially in Serbia, because we have a very strong education system. I mean, we have a very strong universities, and they're quite. I mean, if I'm talking about government universities, they're very difficult to, to do and to attend if you're doing something else on the side. It's basically impossible. But I think in some other countries, for example, in America, I think there is a system for where you can combine, going to university, playing chess. There is such system, but in Serbia, it's just no one would have. No one would care, what you're doing. They would just, want you to give your absolute best on your studies. So it's like, I think, impossible to combine. So, but in my case, I was also like quite, you can say, lucky that I was not. I was not. I didn't really get super interested in anything else like besides chess. Let's say if I can compare, my other interests, they were super like low comparing to my interest to chess. So the decision was quite easy, and my parents also saw it. Like it was also clear to them. Okay, I would just come back from high school. If I didn't have a tournament, I would either play online or just try to check some things. Okay, of course I had to study for school, which was of course a huge problem. But then they saw that just my interest was not very high for anything else, and that I was ready to invest my time in chess. So yeah, decision came pretty easy.
Okay. So if we fast forward to the last couple of years, you hit a lot of important milestones for a professional player. You got your IM title, you won the European Women's, you started competing in the big FIDE events like the Women's World Cup. How would you describe, your current position, your current status as a professional player? Like, do you feel like, okay, I've kind of made it onto the scene? What's next? What would you say?
Well, I would say, definitely like last year, this winning European Women's was, for now, peak of my career. And I don't really like to use word proud, when I'm trying to describe something related to myself, but I can say proud of myself because of the way that it kind of happened. I lost the first game and then managed to win 9 games in a row. So I think really that was something that kind of showed me, that I'm also mentally capable of, facing some not very pleasant, situations. Because of course it's very difficult when you come to tournament with highest possible ambitions, and then you end up losing the first round. I also had mate in too, but that one will pass. So it was just a very, very chaotic, beginning. But then, I really sort of proved myself that, okay, I can actually, come back in such a way and win 9 rounds. So I was really, really happy with that. But even before European Women's, I started actually having some kind of period where I was struggling a little bit with my motivation, which it's I would say quite unfortunate that it happened to me like this early, because okay, I still think that I'm young and I'm still struggling actually with motivation already for some maybe 2 years, because okay, that's I think one of the bad sides in my case, that I was not super interested in anything else close to chess. So I really gave myself to completely to chess, and I really, was playing out of love, and still I'm playing out of love. It's like my biggest passion. But when it becomes also your job, it starts things starts a little bit mixing up. You get very nervous when you lose, when it's not going your way. You start questioning a lot of different things. Like is it too late, or is it like right moment actually to switch and do something else? Because I really love chess, but at the same time, I'm aware that there are so many more things to do, and I started getting interested in some things that I might be wanting to do in the future. But chess is a bit tricky because it's not really easy to combine it with anything else. It requires a lot of work, discipline, and of course traveling basically nonstop. So it kind of got to my had this kind of thoughts, and then it becomes a little bit more difficult to focus and work and to remain disciplined. So somehow I pushed myself to work before this European Women's, but then European Women's happened, and okay, I won. I was really, really of course happy, but I did have this kind of periods in career where I would have a great tournament, but then I would realize that it's like nothing so special. Like I would say, of course, I mean, you go, you win, you're happy for a day too, and then it's just like you put so much meaning into it, just only to understand that it has no big meaning once you actually do it. It's a little bit of philosophical debate. I mean, we can talk about it forever. It would take a long time for me to explain. But I think I've just started struggling after European Women's even more. I mean, I had a very bad period afterwards. I had 2-3 tournaments where I really underperformed so much. I mean, they're not like they're so bad that I think my worst kind of tournaments in my last 5 or 6 years. Like it's not, I really, really underperformed, but I was not surprised because I had this kind of thoughts. I mean, I couldn't prepare a lot. I kind of got to this huge burnout period where I just couldn't really look at chess that much anymore, to be honest. I mean, I would enjoy maybe casual blitz games and so on, but preparing for a serious game, which takes a long hours, and mentally facing all those things just became very, very like simply too much for me, and I just got tired, and so I'm still, to be honest, trying to understand what I want. So you asked me what's my status. I'm not sure. Of course, I am a professional chess player. I mean, I do have still goals. Like even though throughout my career, I actually I'm not really goal oriented person in general. Like it sometimes it's good because it keeps you relaxed at the time. Like you don't really stress a lot because you don't expect so much of yourself. Like you're just trying to prioritize this process and enjoyment, and okay, what happens. But okay, then this struggling with motivation happens, and then you start asking yourself, okay, but what am I doing? What are my goals? So I'm trying to artificially push myself, because really, I mean, if you ask me what's your goal, I just, of course, there are some things that I would like to achieve, like getting to a grandmaster title maybe. But still, the biggest point is just to try to enjoy the process and not stress too much, because I think this is one of the problems in chess, that people stress a lot, and then it just becomes very like too much to handle and quite unnecessary, because it's just a game after all. But it's very, of course, difficult to see it like that when also it's your job and so on. So it's really, really complicated. So I do still have goals. Of course, I would like to become GM, but right now I'm struggling with my motivation, because it's not enough for me. I would also like to do some other things, and all these questions like started coming, like until what time you want to play. Maybe at some point, I want to start coaching or do something completely non-related to chess, because chess is great, but I still think that it's too much to give your whole life to it, because there are so many other great things. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good answer. I think, yeah, people say normally, uh, people will start looking for God either when they hit the bottom and they have nothing
Hmm.
else to help them, or if they hit the top and they realize their goals didn't give them what they wanted. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think I read in some of your interviews, like sometimes if you achieve the goal, then you actually feel a little bit empty inside. And also, I think when I was talking with Irina Bulmaga, and she won silver that year when you won gold,
Yes.
and she was saying she thought things would be great, and then it was kind of exciting for a couple of days. There were some interviews, and then it just went back to normal, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't so
Same.
good.
Yeah, yeah, similar to me. I actually saw that she said it. I checked a little bit her interview. I was curious. I also spoke to her, I think, afterwards, because I think we even spoke before this European. We played a tournament in Wroclaw together. I think it was maybe literally 1 month before this European happened, and she was really excited. And yeah, because I think we have similar systems in Serbia and Romania. Like we have some kind of supporting system. Government is supporting sport in general, but one of the problems was. I think same for her and same for me, that chess is not an Olympic sport, and therefore they kind of like kick chess completely out of any kind of awards or any. We have some special words for this kind of things when you,
Like a
let's say,
pension.
yeah, 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 pension, exactly. So just that the thing is like, if I won European, let's say 5 years ago, I would have a right for pension, but they actually changed this rule in some very dirty way, I can say, and they made it a little bit unclear, because still it's unclear whether or not I'm gonna get. Maybe I will at some point. Maybe they will. I think they're even in court or something. It's like very, very heavy topic, because also our men team won gold 2023 in European teams, and then also 1 year later, Alexander Injic also won a European Championship, and then 1 year later I won. So basically 3 years in a row, we won golds in European Championships, and yeah, we didn't get anything, which is kind of crazy. That So I completely relate to Irina, because say a similar thing happened to me. Of course, okay, when you win gold, maybe a little bit more attention comes. You get. I also jumped with rating quite a bit. I reached my peak so far in the career, so I got some invitations for other tournaments and so on. So for me, from that perspective, it was really meaningful. It helped me in some ways, but still, I didn't get anything from country, and which is quite disappointing, because I mean, it's after all, it's European Championship. Like you can't. Also, it's tricky, because we have so many sports in which are Olympic sports, where we have so like people who do the sport are like so like small in numbers, you know, comparing to chess. Like in chess, there are like millions of people are playing, so and it's considered, you know, sport. So it's like very, you know, stupid to not count it just because it has its own Olympiad. It's just not
Mm.
fair. And yeah, also in Serbia we have a really big this you know, sport culture. Like we have we're really strong in sport. Actually, we have, you know, Novak Djokovic in tennis. We have our, you know, basketball team is like all the time winning some medals in you know, world championships. Both women, men, volleyball. I think whichever sport you take, I think Serbia is, you know, top five in world. So we really have this strong structure, and actually government is really supportive of Olympic sports. We have huge awards if you win, let's say, yeah, even you know, European Championship, and if we were Olympic sport, I would really get nice things. But just because we are not, it just doesn't count. It counts in Olympiads, but still, Olympiad is also a bit tricky because it's team sport, so whole team has to be good. So it actually doesn't mean a lot, but still, it's very unfortunate. So I completely relate to what she said. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah. Talking about maybe life outside of chess, or I think talk back to Irina. I think she has a quote on her blog like, "Chess is life, but life is not only chess." And you know, after Javakir won the candidates, someone asked him if you could live for 1,000 years, how long would you play chess? And he said, "Okay, 100 years at most." But that's still a long time.
Well, that's
Um,
still a long time. No.
yeah,
For
and
sure
I
would
think
not be 100 years.
chess is
Yeah.
hard because in order to really become at the very top, you have to uh, just really dedicate yourself to it. I think Anish Giri, he had an example like if you have a bucket and you put some rocks in it and like some sand in it, maybe those are your family, friends, but then you pour water in it and the water is chess. Like everything else is chess.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's
Yes.
hard because yeah, it's just a game and maybe like for example your parents they don't play chess and so you can play it and you can enjoy it, but it's not such a big world compared to the rest of life. So
No,
you've talked,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. So maybe talk a little bit about how you think about these things.
Oof, if I start talking, I'll get sad. No, I mean that's something that I've been struggling with, you know, because you know, I'm still very young. I can just imagine, you know, how people feel, you know, when they're much older, like even, you know, some 10 years older, when they're in their, I don't know, late 30s, 40s. I mean, I just really started also worrying for myself a little bit because I really don't want to, you know, end up, you know, sort of staying inside the chess and realizing, okay, why I just didn't, you know, kind of explore other things and try something else like earlier. So I'm not sure, but at the same time, I think it's very tricky because chess is it's a very unique thing. I'm not even sure, you know, it's very difficult even to explain to a person who is not a chess player. I'm having, you know, struggles to, let's say, talk to some friends who are outside of chess. I'm telling, you know, about my problems, my feelings, but I can see that it's very difficult for them to relate. You know, yeah. I mean, even honestly, when I talk to parents, it's I mean, they know me so much. They you know know me for forever, and they know what kind of things I've been through, and you know, I share with them everything. I share my emotions. They know everything, but still, I can see that it's not, you know, 100% clear to them because they can't. They're not inside this world. They can't know exactly how I feel, and so on. So it's very tricky. I think it has a little bit of addiction. This is one of the problems. I think there is maybe yeah, huge difference with basically anything else because it's such a thing that it can be and everything in your life. It can be an addiction, it can be a profession, it can be a hobby, it can be you know, a comfort zone, it can be something that you can just you know, see everything, see chess as everything, and then when all things get mixed up, you know, you can just end up completely locked in chess, you know, 24 hours, start thinking about it, you know, I want to go play some tournaments. It just has this kind of, you know, you would just do it, sleep, repeat, and so on, and you get in this kind of mode. I don't know. It's very very tricky. Doing something else besides chess is also challenging because I think that you would really have to sort of make this. In my case, I think I would have to make conscious decision to basically stop playing and either switch to coaching or preferably something else. But that's also very very difficult because whatever you choose to do outside of it, it's you start from zero, and in chess you're already something, and you can just try to improve yourself and fulfill your full potential. I think here also ego plays a little bit of a role because ego is all the time telling you, okay, Ida, you can push more, you can just win more games, you can, I don't know, become again European champion. Like this ego is playing with your mind, and it literally doesn't let you go out of it very very easily. At least that's I'm telling, of course, just how I feel and from my own perspective. So I'm not sure. I do have some other interests. I mean, I would I don't know, maybe do something related to animals or nature, something more peaceful. I think my personality is maybe a bit more peaceful, which is not really kind of matching with chess very often. I'm not super competitive. Also, I used to be much more competitive, but I like maybe more, let's say, artistic side of chess. That's also partially what kind of made me fall in love with it. I really really loved the game itself, but I was never putting the priority of winning and beating someone and so on. Those kind of things were very secondary for me. But once you have to improve and so on, I think my personality is maybe not really good for this kind of thing because it's not very matching. I'm more of a peaceful persona. So we'll see. I'm not sure. Yeah, I've been struggling with motivation lately, really. So, but still, leaving chess is such a big thing. I mean, it's part of my whole life, and it's difficult to partly, play occasionally, do something else on the side because it just requires all of you. This is the problem. If you want to improve, if you want to do it on professional level, if you want to, earn from it, you should just have a discipline and work and. Yeah, there is no much more space for anything else. Basically, that's the problem. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I read in some interviews you said when you're playing these games, they tend to be you don't want to avoid you want to avoid danger, and then you don't train end games especially, but end games are just more your style. So
Yes,
the
yes,
peaceful side.
yeah, I am very, very peaceful. That's why I also I get really sad when I lose. It has a little bit of that as well because, I mean, my style has a little bit to do with that. That's why I'm a little bit more on a solid style. I mean, I didn't. It just got actually shaped very, very early in my career. So, it's very tricky to suddenly change it. When I was very, very small, I started working, as I mentioned, with this coach from Serbia, and I kind of he actually gave me basically his style because we worked quite a lot, and he's more of a solid guy, peaceful guy, and I think thanks to him, he really kind of shaped me also, as a player, and I'm just, I mean, my main move is knight f3 with white, and then I think it will be clear to everyone, like, what does it mean, because it's like absolutely most solid move. So I like to, just take my coffee, enjoy the game. Of course, I will calculate if I have to, but and I also don't think that I'm bad at calculations. That's what people usually kind of underestimate when someone is more on a solid side. Even these top players, they think that, okay, he's lazy to calculate. No, it's just your preference. But of course, if the position requires, I'm going to give my best. I'm going to calculate. I'm not going to run away from something, but it's just a preference. If I had to choose, I would still choose more solid and, no risk-free kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last year in the European Women's, you had the bishop sacrifice, right, and checkmate.
Oh yes, yes. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It happens. I mean, I also, of course, I think my tactical vision is quite good. I mean, I saw a lot of puzzles. At some point, I was really training a lot for my calculation. I really didn't even work on openings at some point to try to, really to be able to, whichever position I get, to be able to solve it, by calculation, not rely too much on intuition, which was case in my career actually. But then I was like, okay, let's back it up with a strong calculation, and then it's going to be even better. So of course, I think I'm capable of doing it. But still, if you ask me my favorite games, I would still pick, some calmer game, some end
Yeah.
game, not this bishop, yeah, sack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think there was an end game that you said
Yeah.
that you really enjoyed from that one. Yeah, I think that's one reason I like doing these interviews, because sometimes for amateur players, you look at the professionals and you kind of just think, okay, this is an engine, and then sometimes they play a bad move or they blunder, right? They you miss the B1 queen and checkmate, but it's
Yes.
like no, they're also people and they have all these questions and things they're thinking about. It's not just a chess machine. And it's not so easy to be a professional chess player. I mean, on the one hand, you can make a living, and that's very lucky, and most people can't. But on the other hand, you still have to answer all the questions that we all have to think about.
Yes, of course. No, it's definitely not easy. I mean, it has. Uh, I think everything is also about comparison. I think this is something that I think about often. Let's say when I think about switching my careers, or oh, why I didn't do something else. I mean, then I try asking myself, okay, but. Who do you see, from your surrounding, or anyone from life? You don't have to know the person, but let's say which profession looks very good for you. Let's say, is there someone that you would like to switch your life, with, and you would be like fully happy? Honestly, like when you start thinking like this, you realize that okay, I definitely would not want to have a work, in office from, I don't know, 8 to 4, or how is it? I don't want to have some boss who is telling me what to do. I have some standards, which kind of also chess kind of put me those standards, because after all, it's not that bad. You travel, you do at the end of the day something that you enjoy. Yes, it's not always going good. Yeah, you're going to lose games, but at the end of the day, you chose it, and it is game. It's interesting. It's I think, yeah, just very interesting game. I mean, we all chose it, I think, because of this in the first place, just because it's a very enjoyable thing to do, and you can organize your time, your own, boss. You can live from it. Yeah, it's not very easy. Depends on your result, but still, I mean, of course, it's nothing is going to be perfect, but I think it has a lot of good sides that other jobs are lacking. I mean, I see people around me, my mom is an example. She has a normal quote unquote job. Let's say she likes to travel a lot, and she can't travel more than 1 month per year. She has this holiday days. We say, I think maximum like 1 month per year, which is very very little. I mean, and there I am, who is complaining and who is all the time traveling to new countries. So I think it's everything. Everything is about comparison. Of course, there are better things, but there are so many worse things. So I think chess is, after all, on a better side for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why you're stuck. You can't decide
I'm
because you have
stuck. Yes. No, I'm stuck completely because, first of all, I love the game. This is one of the things that is keeping me. I really. I never prioritize, success, money. All those things are kind of coming naturally, but it's not part of my motivation. It's just the moment when I sit and when, okay, I adjust my pieces, I'm going to have this process of thinking. Every game is different. There are no two same games. You're preparing. You're going to use maybe some of the ideas that you were working on, that you were preparing, and so on. This whole process is kind of interesting for me, and I just love this process of thinking. Just the problem is that I also think there are other fields, in life where you can apply similar kind of artistic, even more actually, because chess is more, calculation, this mathematical part, and so on. So that's why I'm a little bit struggling, because I realize that okay, but Teodora, there are so many other things that you can, use your discipline and your passion for. You don't have to give everything to chess. But at the end of the day, as I said, I really love chess. So it's a sweet problem, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's a lucky problem to have,
It's
but
a
it's
lucky
still a
problem to
problem.
have. Exactly. I'm super grateful also that I discovered. I think I am very, very grateful to chess, because it has brought me so many great things. I met so many great people. It also, I managed to travel a lot, see new cultures from very early point of my life, which kind of shaped me, the kind of person I am today. I see, people, let's say, who don't travel, who didn't have this kind of opportunities. I think it can also kind of limit your points of view. So I think I'm just super grateful for chess, because I would not be same person. And I think that yeah, I'm kind of fine person. I'm not going to complain. I think I'm okay. So I'm really grateful for it.
Yes. Yeah, we're just talking about the ideas, right? Because you have to
Yeah.
think about it. Well, speaking of something maybe where there's more significance outside of just you, a lot of your interviews asked you, okay, what do you recommend for young girls? And I think normally you say, okay, well, if you're a girl and you want to explore chess, just play opens and start that when you're young. And then I guess the point is later in life, you can think about whether you want to keep doing chess or whatever. But when you're a kid, the best thing from you is just to play the opens, not just girls' events. Um, but yeah, I think talking with Irina and also Dinara Wagner, they mentioned, sometimes maybe parents or girls will go up to them and ask them like, should I be a chess player and things like that. And I'm sure people ask you too. So can you talk a little bit about more this subject, being a mentor and maybe role model for young girls?
Uh, yeah. I mean, first of all, just to touch a little bit the thing that you said about open tournaments, I think is it's very important. But at the same time, it's I understand that it's very difficult. Because the numbers are so different. Like there are so much more men in chess comparing to girls, that even when we have like quite a few women competing in open tournaments, I think it's improving, of course, compared to how it used to be. But still, the percentage is very different, and I think that. I actually talked about this subject a lot in this Serbian podcast that I had. The problem is, I think, also about people's mentality. I think also the general conscious of people is not very high, unfortunately, in today's world still, because I remember that even when I was very little, and my dad was pushing me to play some open tournaments in Serbia. I mean, he understood that that's the way to improve, and I should not limit myself. But I did have a lot of sort of uncomfortable encounters with male players, where let's say I was a small girl, I would, I don't know, win some older man, and he would make a scene out of it, and let's say now when I'm mature and such thing happens, like it can't affect you. But when you're little and such things happen, like you start asking yourself, you don't really understand why does it happen. I mean, it doesn't even have a logical explanation, but it just happens, and you can't really understand it. And parents also see such things, and they're like, okay, why would I let my girl have this kind of situations? She can just play in woman events where just she will not have this kind of uncomfortable situations. I mean, there are much more worse things, actually. This is like just a small thing, but a lot of bad things happen, and I think having woman only events is helpful, especially for girls, because it's just a safe area, in general. And yeah, they're just not no uncomfortable things. But still, I mean, ideal thing would be, of course, to have only open section. After all, I think this is something that world has to kind of move forward to, like having just an open section and everybody's playing more or less in similar numbers and so on. It's some kind of it looks impossible from today's perspective, but I think with it's kind of improving still, and in some, I don't know, hundreds of years maybe we will get to that point. But still, of course, it's very important to play open tournaments, at least, when you grow older, when you understand that, okay, these kind of uncomfortable things can't affect you. You should, I think that's the only way to improve. So it's really important to play it. And you asked me also something else, but now I forgot.
Um, yeah, just thinking about, I think one interview you said, right now the main thing you can do is continue to improve on your own and maybe get some different results. That's the best way you can be a encouragement to young players. But then maybe
Yep.
thinking about other things in the future or
Yeah. No, I definitely think about coaching. It comes to my mind time to time, but I would never want to do again. A lot of coaches unfortunately prioritize again money, which I'm struggling with, because whatever I do, it has to have a higher meaning. It has to have a something which is kind of feeding my soul, which makes me feel good. It has to be something that is generally good in the world. So when I hear coaching, I would only do it, with let's say some young girls that are super sort of into chess, like I used to be, that are motivated, that are willing to put the work. That if I see like my parents saw in me, the sparkle in their eyes, I would sort of really be able to be coached 24/7 for them. Like, but I think it's very difficult to find this kind of kids, first of all. I mean, there are not so many. I mean, of course, I would also like to, have maybe even just one or two maximum. I would not really want to, do it on a very massive level. So I do have some picture of how I would like it to be if I decide ever to do it. But still, I try to motivate myself, with my own chess, because I still think that, by playing and sort of showing the results, let's say, that I had in this European Women's, I'm really sort of hoping that it kind of motivated some young girls from Serbia, that they can see that it's, possible to, come back after, loss and to win so many games. Like, I really, whatever I do, I try to see it as, okay, it has some higher meaning. It's not only that I won, I feel happy about myself. I really try to feel that some other people also had a benefit from that. And I try to do it through my results for now, but we will see. Maybe later, at some point, maybe not typical coaching, but yeah, as I said, I would maybe want to find one, two girls that I would really feel, that they really are able and that really want to, put up the work. So we'll see.
yeah. Yeah, and then again, then you run into another problem is you have to make a living. And so there's always something. If you only have
Yeah,
two
of
students,
course.
then it's harder, right? But
Harder, of course.
you talked about someone asked you, okay, can you make a living in chess? And you said, yeah, you can. But you said, playing leagues, even doing some commentary, that's a way that, at least right now, you're able to do that. It sounded like you did some commentary before. Did you like that? Would you do more of that?
Yeah, I did commentary for Grand Prix in Belgrade. I think that Grand Prix are not being organized anymore. It was for open. It was not for women. It was for open. It was held in Belgrade, and I was. It was completely new experience for me. It was always something that. I was curious about, let's say. I mean, I was not sure if I wanted to do it because uh, I mean, at first it actually looked kind of easy. I myself really like to watch tournaments with commentators. If commentators are good, I really enjoy it. I thought it was very easy, and okay, it came to my mind a few times. Okay, maybe you can try it. Again, this ego. If I feel like I can be better than someone someone else there, I'm like, okay, maybe maybe you would be a great commentator, but then when I got this opportunity, I accepted. I wanted to try it, and then I realized that it's absolutely not as easy as it looks, because yeah, you just have to talk about some random things for like 7-8 hours. Because if you're commentating long games like classical games, then it can get a little bit boring. So I think you need a lot of experience to sort of navigate the conversation and so on. You have to have a good person next to yourself, which I did. I was commentating with Miroshnichenko, Evgeny Miroshnichenko, and he was luckily very, very experienced. So he was, of course, leading the things, and I was giving comment here and there. But of course, it was a good experience. I'm not sure I would do it. Still, I think, let's say, streaming maybe is even more fun to me. I'm not super close to this kind of things, but commentating itself is not, I think, very, very interesting for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you tried it though.
Yeah, I tried it and I know how it is. It's definitely not easy, not very interesting, a little bit boring. You're looking at players, you want to play yourself, so it's yeah, it's not for me, I think.
Yeah. Um, oh, you said there's some commentators that you enjoy. We can talk maybe just in general about like, even though you're professional, you're playing your own games, but still, do you have any favorite like commentators you like, or even players that you enjoy? Let's say being on a team with, or just who have you appreciated in the chess world?
Oh, it's tough to say. As for the commentators, I would maybe say I like Gustafsson. I like Gustafsson a lot. I like Yasser, Seiravan. Mm, I'm sure there are many more, but my mind is blocked. But all this kind of, yeah, I like David Howell. I mean, all these commentators that are kind of there, very often that are commentating these top events. I think they're there for the reason, to be honest. So I really enjoy. For me, it's important that they're strong players, because I also watch commentary not for fun, but also to learn something. Because I think even though they're commentating usually for people who are I think for lower rated people, but I still think that there is always something that you can learn. And as for people in chess in general, I'm not sure, to be honest, because I'm also struggling with chess, with a lot of these chess players who are having super kind of egoistic perspective. I think this is something that I really don't like. Everybody is sort of prioritizing as I said, the successes, the career, very bad reactions when it comes to losses. I mean, the nature of the game is like that, so I understand. It's also individual sport, so it creates everybody's kind of a little bit too much kind of centered on themselves. So this is something that I'm struggling with, because I really don't like this kind of, I would not want myself to be like that. I really like people who are more, open to world, who are more like doing stuff to inspire people, to motivate people, not prioritizing a lot this, successes and so on. So I'm not sure. I was teammate with Hikaru now in Global Chess League.
Yes.
That was interesting experience, because I thought that okay, he's not going to talk to us at all. I mean, to me, because I was like really like I don't think he knew me, of course, before that tournament. So I was like, oh, he's not gonna talk. But actually, he was really chill. He even after some games we discussed, and he was kind of down to earth. So it kind of he broke this kind of thought that, okay, all these top players are, just super egoistic, don't want to talk to anyone. I thought it's like that, but actually, he's pretty chill. So I had this experience, and I also played with Anand in World Rapid and Blitz teams. Yes, last year, and also I was very, very, okay, for him I was not surprised because he's also one of the players that I really sort of liked always as a player, and also looked very, very nice as a person. So I was not surprised. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I prefer I prefer to play with very strong players so I can learn something usually.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Um, well, maybe we can. Yeah, there's a lot of good, serious discussion, and we can talk about some easier topics.
For sure.
So I think I saw on your Instagram when you went to New York for the Rapid and Blitz, your dad was with you. Was that your first time taking him on a chess tournament? How was your trip to America?
Yeah, it was okay. It's definitely not the first time that I took him to tournaments. Actually, he was, in the beginning of my career, I was usually going with either mom or dad, more with dad, I believe. But yeah, last time we did trip together for chess was maybe 10 years ago or plus, so it's been quite a lot of time. And I was really happy when I saw that it's going to be in US, because it's been one of his dreams, to go to New York. He went to US actually maybe some 30 years ago or something, but actually didn't visit New York, and really wanted to go. And me myself, I've never been to US before. This was my first time, and I was like, yeah, I mean, for sure we're going to together. So yeah, it was really nice. I mean, to be honest, maybe I'm not the right person to ask about New York, because I'm not super into big cities. This is, again, just a preference. So I also wanted to, I was curious. I wanted to see the vibe. I mean, I watched so many movies, that happen in so, we did so many actually photos in these locations where from some scenes, movie scenes that we would watch together. There was actually one movie that's actually our favorite movie about me and my dad. It's not very famous, I think. It's like I think the name is The Words. The Words is the movie. It has like Bradley Cooper and I think Jeremy Irons. I think in they're the
Okay.
main actors. I'm not sure it's famous movie, but it's very good. If you didn't watch it, you should definitely check it. And the whole movie is in New York, and one of the like best scenes is in this. What's the name of Central Park, and we found exactly the place where they recorded, and we made same scene as they did, with some book and so on. So yeah, it was really nice. We had a lot of time also to explore, because the tournament took place right before the New Year for Christmas. So we went there earlier, and we also stayed for New Year. So I enjoyed it. He also enjoyed it. It's complete mess of a city, like so many people, and I'm also struggling with safety issue a bit, because when I was reading news when I was there, like all the time some weird things would happen, and then I was scared to use metro and such things. So a little bit from that point of view, also we were staying in very, very central location, so I think also that maybe played a role. I am easy to get paranoid, so I, I easily got very paranoid. So yeah, I was a bit struggling from that perspective, but of course it's just such a unique place that I'm so happy that we went together. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not a very peaceful city, and um, I think it's a big shock when you see it in the movies, and it's like it looks nice and quiet, and then you go in person, and there's all these smells, and you hear all these
Yes,
sounds, and
exactly. Yes.
so. But I hope your dad enjoyed it. He did not accomplish his dream and be disappointed.
No. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed it, but the problem is he also had these movies put, as you said, the movies put a lot of. They put very high standards, like, and then when you go, you're like, okay, it's nice, but it's actually so much that you can't take it. Like it's like just like for me, it's not possible to imagine to live there. Like it was good for like 1 week, okay, we've seen it, but to live in this central kind of place is just so much for me. Like so many people, so it's like okay, but also we went for Christmas, New Year. It was like I think 10x more than than usual.
I think it's always going
So
to be busy.
yeah, probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know better, so yeah.
Yeah, not as peaceful, not for you.
Yeah.
Um, and then outside of chess, just for fun, not necessarily other interests, but like career interests. Is there anything you usually like to do? TV or other games, sports, whatever, artistic things?
Um, well, I like to do, relatively basic things. I don't have any kind of interesting thing that I can,
Well,
share that
everything is
I'm.
interesting for a chess player, so.
That's true, actually. No, that's very true. Okay, I like, again, it's very basic, but I like walking a lot in general. Like,
Okay,
it
that's
sounds,
not interesting for a chess player. All the
yeah.
chess players walk.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's also true. But ideally, can walk like a lot. If I can choose, let's say, to walk from one point to another and not take any bus, car, or anything, I'm just gonna walk, even if it's like 10 kilometers or something. Like I'm just I really like to walk. I like to ride a bicycle. That's one of my actually recent hobbies. I took a bike, so my also home is like next to a river, so I can like take very long bike rides. I like to watch movies a lot. Just the problem is that I already watched all greatest movies, so now I got into some mode to repeat because I don't like new movies usually. I'm kind of a little bit old fashioned, so it has to be some maximum 2010. So I already watched all of it. Um, yeah, I used to read a lot. My mom is a librarian, so my home is always, a lot of has a lot of books around. So I used to read a lot. Now I kind of stopped a little bit. I have these phases when I read a lot and then I don't read, and so on. I have a cat. I really like to spend time with my cat. I like animals in general. I if I didn't play chess, probably I would want to do something related to nature and animals. This is one of my, huge passions, which I think is it's not very easy to explain even what I would like to do. But, there is this guy who, works for this. I think he passed away actually recently. He was doing this National Geography, like all the kinds of episodes and so on many different topics. So like he was literally just traveling and spending 1-2 months in nature explaining things, spending had very close encounter with wild animals and so on. I would see myself doing something like that. I mean, maybe it sounds crazy, but I really like I don't have any fear of any animals. I think I would just be able to go and hug lion, or something like this. Yeah, I really like such things. So I like traveling also, but chess, outside of chess, because chess a little bit destroyed it a little bit for me. Because of course you travel a lot, but you don't really tend to see a lot of things. So I always actually I really like to say that I want to once I stop playing chess, I want to go back to all the places that I traveled as a chess player and to go back as a tourist because I didn't see anything. But yeah, we'll see. Still, I the biggest hobby for me is probably still chess. It sounds crazy, but that's the way it is. But I like other things as well. Yeah, there are a lot of things that I like. I mean, chess life is such a you know it's not very long, but I think it's definitely not like long enough to just keep playing chess forever.
Why do you think chess players like to walk so much? Like I talked, like all of them. Whenever I asked, okay, what do you like to do? They always say walking. Even I was talking to Judinar yesterday, a few days ago for an interview, and she also said, okay, I said if you're not training and you want to take some rest, so like why do chess players love to walk so much?
I don't know. I really don't know. It might be it might be coincidence. I'm actually not sure at all. I mean, for example, from my surrounding, I know some actually players that really don't like to walk. So I think it's it has. Uh, I think because chess is such a it can be very stressful at times, and your brain is kind of running 24/7. You're calculating, you're preparing, especially in tournament. You have this kind of robotic routine, sort of, and your brain gets exhausted. And I think that this walking is very kind of good hobby to have because you can do it anywhere. You can it can be your kind of part of your routine in the tournaments. Like for example, it's the case for me. After I finish the game, it's very basic. I just have dinner and then I walk for some like 1-2 hours, and I think it's just very practical hobby to have. You put headphones, you listen to music, you kind of relax your body. It's I think very it's just not also very weird that people like it. It's just a very nice activity.
Yeah, that's true. And your cat, when you're away traveling, the cat is okay?
I mean, yeah, cat is okay. Cat is more attached to my mom, but now as I also started living a little bit alone, I'm between few locations, so she is luckily more attached to my mom, so no problem there. But it also makes me sad because kind of it happened naturally because my mom is always there and I'm obviously not. I'm traveling all the time, so it happened naturally that she got super attached to my mom, and then she sees me as some sister, I would say. I come and then we play together and so on, but she doesn't seem super bothered when I'm not there, and which kind of makes me sad, but at the same time it makes me more relieved because otherwise I would feel very sad during tournaments. I mean, even now I feel sad, like even though it's a cat, people sometimes think that, okay, you can only have this kind of relations with dog, but this cat is really, so special. Like we FaceTime, with my mom and my cat during tournaments. I mean, actually everybody who is close to me, they know my cat is, everywhere basically on my backgrounds, everywhere, photos. I mean, just 90% of my gallery is my cat. So I really
Yeah.
love her.
Okay. Great. Well, yeah, before we wrap up, is there anything else you're thinking about that you want to share? Anything you're looking forward to?
Uh, Anything that I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure, honestly. Like I do have some tournaments that I know that I'm gonna play. I'll be playing in Montenegrin League starting in a few days. I'll be playing in open section first board, so it's going to be quite a strong tournament. And then there is European Women's later in May. But I think I'm not going to play this time. But still, I'm trying to sort of see tournament by tournament. So depending on how I will feel in this Montenegrin League, I will decide what's my next tournament going to be. I am currently in this kind of state of mind where I first have to see how I will feel and so on, not to try to push myself and not to plan too much ahead. I'll be playing also World Rapid and Blitz teams in Hong Kong. That's something I'm also looking forward to because, I've never been to Hong Kong before, and I like this kind of far locations. I'm probably going to, combine it with some maybe holiday somewhere in Asia. So we'll see. I also want to travel a little bit besides chess. There are a lot of locations that places that I would like to visit, but somehow this chess calendar is a little bit, when you make it tight, it can get really tight. So I'll see. I mean, my priority is just to not stress too much and kind of enjoy the process, leave a little bit of space for discovering some other things, and still having goals, but at the same time not being too hard on myself. So I would say just some kind of working on my mental health and this kind of things is right now the priorities. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks, Teodora, for joining. And yeah, we wish you the best in chess and outside of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I hope this channel will grow. So I'm really happy to be part of it.